Well, we'll get started. It's 3 o'clock. We're going to honor your time. Thanks for being here on time. If others join us, that'll be great too. My name is Joyce Stern, and I get to be your Dean for Student Success and Academic Advising. So we work in our office to support students' academic success, the trajectory that you get to move through as a Grinnell student, taking classes and that part of your life here. I have a whole team I get to work with. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm going to turn it over to Belinda and Nick so they can say hi, and then we'll get started with a little bit of content before we have some Q&A with y'all.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Belinda Backus. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the registrar here at Grinnell. I am beginning my 12th year at Grinnell and my second year as registrar. I was previously in the Academic Success Center with Joyce, part of her team. And we are, the registrar team is a team of 4 and I believe 5 here to be soon, located in the John Crystal Center, right there on the corner with all the windows if you have driven by or visited campus. So nice to meet you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Phillips. I am Associate Dean of Curriculum and Academic Programs, and I have the pleasure of working very closely with Belinda and Joyce in a lot of different aspects, especially with first-year students and all the fun tutorial things, and looking forward to seeing you all on campus very soon. I am also Associate Professor of Spanish, and this will be my 11th year here at Grinnell College.
Great. Let me flip to the next screen. I should have added, I'm also a Grinnell alum, so it was a few years ago. But I remember my time at Grinnell fondly as a student and have been working here for a while now too. So it's really a cool community. All right, academic onboarding. We wanted to introduce what that is. This is the phrase onboarding is used a lot now. It really means an orientation, right? It's an orientation. It's the beginning steps as you learn what your academic life at Grinnell is going to look like. And so we created a site in Canvas. Canvas might be very familiar to many of you. It's a common learning management system that a lot of schools and I think high schools use as well. It's a place where each of your classes will have an online component. Like your classes are in person, but your faculty are going to want to deliver some materials to you and maybe post grades and some other things in this online site. So this is a way to get to know Canvas. We launched this site earlier this month, and it's open to you through the end of July. We designed 3 modules that we thought would really help you orient to the academic side of your life at Grinnell, especially these first few tasks that you have to do. I'm sure many of you are really excited about getting registered for some classes. The tutorial will be the first one you register for very soon. You'll be registered based on your choices you submitted. And then through this module, we are explaining, we're not going to go through the module now, but I just want to give you an overview. The module has 3 components, 3 modules, sorry. Advising at Grinnell, right, which is a place for you to learn more about that relationship that you'll have with a professor. So the person who's going to guide your course of study. A second module that follows, and these are self-paced, so one opens after the next. The second one is about exploring Grinnell's curriculum. This is really basically, it tries to explain how Grinnell structures all the various areas of study that are offered here. We have a wide range of subjects, and so you'll be able to just kind of see what's offered and hopefully get you really excited about the possibilities for classes that you can take. And then the third module is meant to get you ready to register. So registration at Grinnell is a little unusual in the sense that we still value that in-person communication before you set forth a set of courses to actually get registered. But we think getting ready for that is worth it because there's actually a lot to think through. So this module is meant to help you think about the courses that you want to take when you're in your first semester at Grinnell. And then you'll do an activity that gives some information actually to your advisor before you even get here. So That's the purpose of this Canvas site. And hopefully you've already been in it and been exploring it. But it was designed specifically for you and brand new this summer. So we'll look forward to your feedback too. Like I said, the first module is about advising, and we're not going to go in depth into all three, but maybe talk about some different things this afternoon with you. But I did want to spend a minute just saying that how advising works at Grinnell, because it is a little distinctive. First of all, philosophically, we really think about advising as being a two-way street. It's quite possible that you had more of the form of guidance that was kind of directed in high school, right? Like how could your guidance counselor direct you into the classes that would help you get into a good college experience? At Grinnell, it's much more open and two-way, right? Your advisor's role is to get to know you, to learn about your goals, to create opportunities for you to reflect on how things are going for you academically, to encourage your exploration of the curriculum, and then help you plan a study course that's uniquely yours. Your role is to get to know them and invest in that relationship. Prepare for your meetings, right? Reflect on your goals, which may be clear or very not clear, and that's fine. Either way, we want you to be open to exploring and trying new things while you're here. And you'll talk through all that with your advisor toward the goal, again, of a liberal arts education that meets your goals. So your faculty advisor, your tutorial professor is your advisor. That's not the only advisor or mentor you're likely to have at Grinnell. You're likely to have more than one. Another one that is sort of assigned to you is through the Careers, Life, and Service Office. You'll have an exploratory advisor that you can go to think about how are you making sense of your academic and extracurricular and personal experiences toward a life that will happen, that happens following Grinnell or during summers. You may get to know others of us who work in the Academic Success Center or in one of the many other, I mean, there's so many offices on campus that work with students. Just for example, if you're an international student, the Office of Student Affairs is a place where you're likely to find someone you call a mentor. So anyway, speaking of offices and resources, I think this is a good time for me to turn this over to Belinda. She's going to share more about the role her office, the Registrar's office, plays really every semester, including this one, in working with students to support their registration and their academic experience.
Thank you, Joyce.
Skipped one. Let's go back. There we go.
One, two, quick. There we go. Yes. So I'm so happy to have the opportunity to talk with students at the very beginning of your journey here at Grinnell. Many of you have already given us some information. Our associate registrar is actively working to enter information from college transcripts you have sent for those of you who have taken college courses during high school. So we're already getting to know you in terms of your name, and we're starting to build your academic record, which is the main responsibility of the registrar's office. So the registrar's office carries out the processes, the academic processes of the college, and enacts the policies of the college. And we communicate with students a ton. One of the things, I'm going to actually work backwards on this bullet list here, but one of the things that we have asked you to engage with in that Canvas site is the academic catalog. And it may not be the most exciting thing that you ever read in your life, but the summer before starting college is a really great time to go ahead and read that catalog and kind of at least do a first pass, not just through the curriculum and the things that we offer, but also the policies. There are many academic policies that will benefit you for a variety of reasons. And so it's very, very helpful to at least have a baseline knowledge of what those policies look like and how they apply to you. Secondly, the registrar's office also hosts a very robust Grinnell Share site. So Grinnell Share is our internal email sites, and you can already access Grinnell Share. If you go to the website and the students tab, you'll be able to find a direct link to Grinnell Share, And you'll see many, many offices, most offices on campus have a Grinnell Share site that contains information that we don't necessarily want to post on our public facing site. For the registrar's office, that's largely forms and information about deadlines, information about policies, and information about the forms that you're using, such as major declaration or course change, are a couple examples. So it's a useful tool, and it will be helpful for you if you need something to start there and see if the thing that you need is located on that site. Lastly, we communicate a great deal with students. And in fact, we have a student email list for each class year, and then for all students. I know that you all received an email that I sent to all students yesterday. I wasn't really thinking about you receiving that, so my apologies, but that's a great example of what email communication looks like from the registrar's office. Reminder about deadlines, reminder about actions. Sometimes those emails contain some very detailed information that needs to be read closely. So I really can't emphasize enough that Grinnell in general communicates with students by email, and that it's really important to check your email daily and to have a routine, perhaps looking at your email first thing to make sure there's nothing important that you need to know, like the time change of a meeting or information about class, and then checking that at the end of the day to make sure that you're ready for the next day. So I really encourage you to check and read your email thoroughly, especially when it's coming from the registrar's office, given that we are often communicating important deadlines and information. We are also just a full service, real quick, it's fine, Joyce, if you transition to the next slide, but I'll also just mention that we are very good at advising on all the things that we do. So if you have questions or you're unsure about something, we welcome phone calls, emails, visits to our office. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you are unsure, especially first year students. We interact with a lot because it's a lot to learn. So please don't hesitate to ask us questions. No, there's no dumb question. All right, and the next slide here is just a screenshot of our Grinnell Share site, just to give you like a quick image if you haven't looked. This is a pretty typical look for a Grinnell Share site, an organized set of either information or documents or forms. These are all links. And so just so you can start building some familiarity with that site. And then the next thing that I want to talk with you about is, again, your student record. So your student record is your data, and you have a right to keep that information private. Your student data has been protected since you've been in school, at least if you're from the US, through the FERPA Act, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. At the beginning of college, the rights shift from your parents or your guardian or your family member that's been caring for you to you. These are now your rights that you manage. The registrar is also governing the management of that data and who has access to it, both internally in the college and externally. I am the FERPA officer on campus, but there are also many other offices that intersect with your data and interact with your data and protect your data. And the main thing that I want you to know as you start your time at Grinnell is that we keep your information private unless you give permission for disclosure. So that is a shift from how things worked in high school when your parents were the owner of the rights, when the rights were held by your parents and they could have access to your grades and other academic information. Now that data is yours, and if you want that information to be shared, you will need to sign permission with a FERPA waiver. Even with that waiver in place, we won't automatically, for example, mail grades to your parents. It is still something that must be initiated by you and your family or your parents. But it's a helpful time to know about this, because if you're still at home, especially, it may be worth talking with your family about how that information will be communicated. Oh, something strange just happened on my screen, but I hope everything's okay.
So, do you want to
Okay.
shift to talk about course registration, or did you
Yep,
have
we can
more
go
to
ahead
say
and
about-
shift. Thank you, Joyce. Okay, so finally, course registration. So as Joyce has already mentioned, you will register for your first semester courses during new student orientation. New student orientation starts on a Friday, and on that Saturday, you will have your first meeting with your tutorial group. You and another probably 11 students and your tutorial advisor. And in that meeting or in that session, you will schedule then an individual advising session where you will complete a registration card that lists your ideal courses. The activity in Canvas is designed to basically practice this step so that you are ready and prepared for that meeting with your advisor. So in essence, in Canvas, you'll complete a sample registration card by submitting preferences, and then you'll do the sort of real deal when you meet with your advisor during NSO. When the registrar's office, along with the academic success team, we will take those cards and register you. So you'll turn those cards in on a Tuesday morning. We will get students registered, but there are times where we can't get students in every single course that they have requested. And so there is a period of add drop that new students will engage in on Wednesday if you want to add, drop, or change your courses after we've set your initial schedule. So the important thing to remember here right now is that registration is a two-part process. You'll fill out an initial registration card, and then you have the option to engage in add drop. That's actually what registration looks like every semester at Grinnell. But in the first semester, you do a registration card instead of using our tech tool, Colleague. Add drop will be done in Colleague, and then every semester after this, you'll do both of those steps in Colleague. And now Joyce is going to put this all together on a timeline for you.
Yeah, some of us are more visual, right? It's like, show me the timeline. So this graphic is really meant to help orient you to the different dates. So Belinda was talking about this in terms of tasks. I'm just going to talk about those same things in terms of dates. So many of you are probably eagerly anticipating, like, what tutorial did I get? When am I going to find that out? So by mid-July, watch for an announcement. How do you think that announcement is coming? By email, of course, because we're an email campus. So watch your email mid-July for an announcement about the tutorial that you're in. And then you'll be directed to Colleague to look it up. So you can get some practice in looking up classes that you're registered for. At the end of July is the time by which you need to have made your way through those 3 modules in Canvas. So we hope that you've started. They're not lengthy, but this gives you enough time to work through those 3 parts. And then on campus, you'll arrive certainly by August 22nd. A few of you might be coming early for like athletics or a program. But on the 23rd, you'll meet with your tutorial professor and your class for the first time. The 24th and 25th, which is a Sunday and Monday, one of those days you're going to have an opportunity to meet individually with your advisor to try to finish thinking through what goes on your registration card and get your priorities sorted out. And then on Tuesday, your card is due by 10 o'clock to the registrar's office, to Belinda and her very friendly staff. And on Wednesday, you're going to find out what classes you were enrolled in. And if you want to make any shifts, there'll be an opportunity to shift gears into different classes toward the end of the day, around 3 o'clock that day on the 27th. And then on the 28th, you start class. And the first one is tutorial. So the first slot of the first day of class is already filled for you. So you can know that, right? Your first tutorial class will be on Thursday morning. You may have other classes that day, depending on your schedule. So there you go. That's a bit of a heads up about what's coming. So we wanted to just spend some time answering your questions. We did want to get through that content pretty quickly so that we would have a chance to hear from you, hear from students about what's on your mind related to the academic transition that you're going to be making and how we can support that. That we want to share. So we wanted to share our contact information with you, just to make sure that any questions that felt too private or too individual or too just specific to your situation, or you just didn't want to pose in the chat or whatever, Belinda and I especially, because we're generalists here, would be really happy to field questions from you about things that are just not clear yet about your registration or advising. So Belinda, do you want to say anything else about your office and or to wrap us up?
Well, I just want to tell everyone thank you for joining us. We're very, very excited to meet you in August. If it may be as hot as it is today, which is, I think we hit around 90, and we've had some thunderstorms in the past several days. So come prepared for all weather. Iowa, as you can see, Joyce and I are both on Grinnell campus, but in two different weather states. that is our lived experience here in the Midwest. So if you haven't been here, if you're not familiar, bring all the different items with you of clothing to stay cool and warm. And have a great rest of your summer. Don't hesitate to reach out. And thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.